So I've got a pan here. It's over about medium-ish heat, and I'm gonna add in a tablespoon of butter. Now you could also do oil if you want, but I don't know about you. Thanksgiving, butter. Butter all the way, 100%. So I'm gonna go in with about a tablespoon of that, pop that right on in, and I'm gonna go in with an onion. So I've got one onion that I've just chopped up here. You just wanna use a classic white onion. Already that smells amazing. Butter and onions, match made in heaven, what a dream. Give a little bit of pepper into there as well. And I'm just gonna give that a bit of a stir just to combine. Now I want this to start cooking down. I want it to cook down for, I'd say about 5 to 6 minutes, just until that onion gets a little bit soft, goes a little bit golden brown, looking absolutely beautiful. Okay, while that onion does its thing, I'm gonna go raid the fridge. Let's see what we got hanging out in the old good stuff kitchen. What did the people on the weekend make? What did we do? Okay. Ooh, okay, cool. So we've got some leftover veg, maybe some corn, a little bit of carrots, and obviously some leftover turkey. So we're gonna use this in that beautiful pot pie, but we're gonna pretend this has been cooking for about that 5 to 6 minutes, and I'm gonna add in my favorite aromatic, and that is garlic. You gotta love a little bit of garlic. So good. I'm gonna rasp mine. Woo! Nice. I don't know if anybody saw, but that was like my version of sports. So that was really good. I'm gonna rasp a garlic clove right on in while I give myself a little bit of an onion facial. My bangs are about to get very poofy. It's always a good thing. I'm going in with 2 cloves of garlic just to give it that beautiful flavor. Super, super tasty. Now, since I'm mincing the garlic in, this is gonna cook up really, really quickly. So I'm gonna start adding in the rest of my ingredients to kind of build that right now. So the first thing I'm gonna go in with, and this is what takes this from tasting like Thanksgiving to something a little bit different. I'm gonna go in with 2 teaspoons of curry powder. Yeah, curry powder and turkey go super, super well together. I actually got this idea. There's this really great bakery in Kingston, Ontario. It's called Pinchancho. If anybody knows it, it's awesome. And they used to make this like turkey sandwich that was like a turkey salad sandwich that had curry powder in it. So it goes really, really nicely together. It's a little bit sweet, a little bit spice, super warming, really, really tasty. So it's gonna start bringing a ton of flavor in. And I'm also gonna go in with those vegetables. You want about 2 cups of leftover vegetables, and whatever you have hanging around, feel free to pop it in. If you had some squash, that would be beautiful. I'm just going with carrots and a little bit of corn. Give that a mix together. And then I wanna add in a little bit of flour just to help this thicken up into a nice stew as opposed to something soupy. So I'm gonna go in with about a tablespoon of flour right into that pan. And I just want that to toast off for, I'd say, about a minute, just to cook off that raw flour flavor, because you don't want that raw flavor. It tastes a little bit gluey. So once you get that cooked off, you can feel the spices. Not gonna lie, I feel like I hear a couple like throat clears. We got one over there, yeah. So give that a little bit of a mix just to toast. And then I'm gonna go in with some broth. Now this is gonna help thicken everything. It's gonna give it that delicious kind of soupy feel, really, really nice. So I've got about 1.5 cups, 2.5 cups of broth here. If you were someone, I'm not gonna lie, I did make turkey broth over the weekend. If you didn't, store-bought is fine, which is the most Ina Garten thing I could ever say. Store-bought broth would be perfect. So I'm just gonna go right on with that, bring that up to a boil. And while that's coming up to a boil, I'm gonna add in one more thing that's gonna bring in a real kind of thick creaminess without adding cream into here. I'm gonna go in with some mashed potatoes. I know, guys, you're as excited as I am. All right, I've got about a cup of mashed potatoes here. This is gonna help thicken this soup up. Almost like when you're making like a potato leek soup. Those mashed potatoes are gonna just kind of release their starches into that beautiful stew and make it really nice and thick. So give that a stir, let that start to break down and simmer. You wanna simmer that for just a few minutes, maybe about 10, let it do its thing. So while that's starting to do its thing, we're gonna get to work on our biscuits, because I personally love biscuits. I like a biscuit-topped pot pie. If you wanted to, you could also do this with just a piece of puff pastry. That would be beautiful as well. But again, why would you do that when you can eat biscuits? Always good. So I've got a bowl here, super simple. I'm gonna go into the bowl with a cup of flour, just all-purpose flour. Then we're gonna go in with 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now, baking powder is really great because it reacts twice. It reacts when it hits a little bit of acid, something acidic like buttermilk, and then it also reacts when it hits the heat of the oven. So it's gonna get extra fluffy and extra tall, giving you really nice, flaky, beautiful biscuits. All right, 2 teaspoons of that baking powder is going right on in. Then to season that up, I'm going in with 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You can go in with some pepper as well, but my very favorite savory biscuit add-in, a little bit of garlic powder. Garlic powder gives you, you know that seafood restaurant that everyone goes to for the biscuits? It gives you that kind of vibe, super tasty. So about a 1/4 teaspoon of that garlic powder goes right on in. Give that a stir just to combine. And then just to give a little bit of that Thanksgiving vibe and to use up some of those leftovers that I know I for sure have hanging around, I've also got some sage here. So I'm just gonna chop that up. If you had rosemary, if you're more of that, or thyme, you could feel free to add that into those biscuits as well. But I personally love sage. This time of year, it's pretty much all I wanna eat. It's the only like nice to pet herb that exists. It's nice and soft. You know what I'm talking about. Anybody else? No one else is weird like me today. Got it, okay, cool. So give that a little bit of a chop. Perfect. Pop that in. And then I'm gonna add in my butter. Now for this amount of biscuits, you really only need about a 1/4 cup of butter, but biscuits are actually pretty lean. So I'm gonna add in that butter, just in little pats, and I'm gonna start pinching that in. Now, while I get that butter all pinched in, getting it to about the size of like peas, green peas. Now, we added a little bit of curry powder into this, giving it a little bit of a different flavor and giving it that beautiful kind of turmeric-y yellow glow. That's gonna be absolutely delicious. I'm gonna finish that up in a second. But first, we're gonna get to work on finishing these biscuits. So I've pinched in that butter, only about a 1/4 cup of butter into there. And I'm gonna go in from anywhere from 1/2 cup of buttermilk to about 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. Biscuits are what I like to call a grandma recipe. You know when you try to get a recipe from your grandma and they'd be like, put it in till it looks good. And you're like, that's not a recipe, Grandma. That's one of these ones. You wanna add in about 1/2 cup first, give it a little bit of a mix, and you just want this dough to hold together. I'm gonna honestly say that 1/2 cup looks pretty good to me. You don't want much of that powdery flour in the bottom. You just want it to come together, hold together, and mix it as minimally as you can, just to keep them nice and tender. So that's literally how fast it takes to make biscuits, which is an absolute dream. Those are looking beautiful. So I'm gonna bring these on over, and we're just gonna finish off this beautiful stew that's gonna go underneath those biscuits. So into there, we're gonna go in with some turkey, because we all got it hanging around. My job as a kid was always my mom would be like, you get to pick all the meat off the turkey. Honestly, I liked doing it, so we got it. We're still doing it to this day. So I'm gonna go in with about 2 cups of that leftover turkey. We've got that beautiful dark thigh meat here, which is absolutely dreamy. Give that a nice stir. And then for a little bit of brightness, something that isn't leftover, I'm also gonna go in with a cup of little frozen peas. I love peas in a pot pie. Again, it tricks people into being like, this isn't just my leftovers. We also put in a frozen vegetable, which is an absolute dream. Now, for a little extra creaminess, we do have mashed potato in here, which gives that beautiful feeling, super tasty. I am also gonna go in with some sour cream, because sour cream always goes into my mashed potatoes. So a little bit, couple tablespoons, right on in. Give that a stir through. Doesn't that look beautiful? Oh my gosh, what a dream. Now, what you're gonna wanna do is get that all stirred through. And then you're gonna add those biscuits on top. Now, I like to use an ice cream scoop for this. Super simple. Just grab a little scoop, plop them on top. Now, you do want this kind of stew mixture to be a little bit cooled. That'll help that butter stay cold, which will give you a flakier biscuit. If it's not cold, they'll still cook up beautifully, so it's all fine. They'll just be a little bit flatter. So just add that biscuit topping right on there. And we're gonna pop this into a 400-degree oven, really nice and hot. Basically, all we're trying to do is cook those biscuits. So 400-degree oven for about 30 to 35 minutes, just until those biscuits are nice and flaky and light, golden brown, and that stew underneath is just simmering. Oh my gosh, this looks really good, guys. Okay. Look at this. Those golden brown biscuits, right on top. That looks like a pretty good pot pie. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.